Hey everyone, Neil here from Post to Post. About 3 weeks ago, I was watching highlights from all the games that happened the night before, and I saw something that I thought was just really disappointing. And I went on about my day and yada yada yada, and I got thinking about it later that night. And I got thinking about the state of the NHL in general. And then a week went by, and I was still thinking about it. I was still thinking about this thing that happened in the game. And it was a potential goalie fight, or it was a goalie fight that was going to be a goalie fight, but it didn't happen because the refs stopped it. And it really made me mad at the time because I wanted to see it. And the fans at the arena wanted to see it too. And there was some chatter online and stuff. And yeah, I've been thinking about it for the past 3 weeks. I've been thinking about the state of the NHL. And viewership is down. Viewership has been down in 2024. And it has drastically declined, specifically in the United States, since the beginning of this season. It's really bad. The numbers are super bad. So I was like, okay, well, I've made videos talking about the NHL before and some of the decline and maybe some of the things that are contributing to this, but I wanted to kind of revisit it a little bit because the numbers are drastically falling at a rate where I think more people need to talk about this. So I do have some things that I want to look at with you guys. I found an article that was an interesting read. I'll share that with you. I found some Reddit comments. I'll share that with you as well. And we'll talk about specifically the goalie fight first. I'll show you that video first, and we can kind of react and get your thoughts on that. And then we can talk about why it happened, both from a logical standpoint, and then discuss the disappointment from maybe an emotional standpoint. But let's watch the video together and let's see it play out in case you haven't seen it so far. So I'll press play, and you can see that I'll turn my volume down on my end so there's no echo. But as you can see, Kemper and Swayman are having a little discussion, okay, from either end of the ice, and both are very agreeing, willing combatants here. And then the refs step in, and they stop one another, only feet from one another. Kemper skated from the other end of the ice to meet Swayman, and Swayman dropped his helmet. He was ready to go. Kemper was ready to go, taking off his equipment, and then the refs decided to stop that. So that led to a lot of frustration, and I think not just from Boston fans, not just from LA fans, like hockey fans in general. I'm not an LA fan. I'm not a Boston fan. But I want to see a goalie fight. Do you want to know why? Because it's damn exciting. That's why. That's good old hockey. And so let's look at this. Let's break this down. Why did the refs stop the fight? Okay, that's the real question. Why did the referees stop two people from fighting in the NHL, which allows fighting? And what was the reason behind that? I think one of the reasons is that goalies are more important than any other player on the team. No offense to McDavid, McKinnon, whatever, but goalies are few and far between. Like high quality goalies are few and far between. Teams can ride on the back of an extremely good goalie. If that goalie gets injured or whatever, has to get ejected from the game, maybe they go to their backup. Maybe their backup isn't as good. You see a lot of two goalie tandem systems in the NHL right now, but back in the day, if Patrick Waugh was in net and he got in a fight with someone or got ejected for whatever reason, and then the backup goalie came in, the difference in skill level is dramatic. And yes, it's less apparent, or it's less abundant these days, but there's still teams who, they've got that one goalie and their backup maybe isn't as good, or maybe he gets injured and he's going to be gone for a week or a month or 4 months, like who knows. So there's an obligation more so to stop the fight from the ref's perspective when it involves goalies. So they do kind of basically everything they can to stop two goalies from fighting. That is, I would assume, a direct mandate from the NHL to the Reffing Association. And so that's kind of the logical side of it. They're doing whatever they can to protect the goalies. And I understand that there's probably some history of specific goalies, maybe like Hextall and some other aggressive goalies, really doing some damage to some other people. And so there's the history there as well. They're trying to prevent injury. So I get it. Like removing my emotion from it, I understand it. I get it. But it comes to the point where it doesn't matter when both goalies desperately want to engage in this dance, we'll call it. They want to engage in this dance. And clearly the fans do. And this brings me to this next topic is the fans at the arena. I want to rewatch the video. I'll turn the volume up a little bit. I don't want you to listen to the announcers. I want you to listen to the fans in the background. And you'll notice cheering. You'll notice an extreme amount of cheering and them getting louder and excited. And then you'll notice booing. and it all aligns pretty similarly to, or pretty interestingly to, what happened. So I'll press play, and you can listen to the fans here. I'll be quiet.
Well, he's upset. Maybe he'll get both. We'll see. Goalie. Here they go. Darcy can get another penalty here for crossing the red line.
Yeah, Swayman came all the way out to the red line, and the linesman was telling him, hey, don't go any.
So as you can hear in the background, you have fans, regardless of, it doesn't matter what jersey they're wearing, doesn't matter what team they're cheering for. There's cheers, there's aggressive cheers because they think they're about to see a goalie fight, and then there's booing. Not booing at the goalies, at the refs for stopping the fight. This is a segue into a more broader problem with the NHL and viewership. So we discussed the reasons why the refs stopped the fight. Okay, that's the logical side. But emotionally, the fans don't care. Respectfully, or I guess no respect to the goalies, we don't care if they get injured. I mean, we kind of do, but we really don't. We're more interested in seeing an exciting sport. That's entertainment. That's why we're here. So we want to see a goalie fight, number one, because it's rare. Number one, because it's cool. And it's going to lead to more viewership. Like, that's like, hey, did you go to work, hey, did you see the goalie fight last night? Maybe to someone who's maybe just a casual hockey fan, he's like, no, I didn't see it. Go watch it. Go check out the highlights. They go watch it. They're like, oh, wow, that's some old school classic hockey. That's pretty good. Maybe I'll watch the next game. That's what gains interest in hockey. And so here's the segue to a broader conversation. I want to bring up the article. Sorry, I'm just looking on my other monitor here. I want to bring up an article that I found. YYZSportsmedia.com put out an article talking about the NBA and NHL ratings kind of tanking. This was done in December of 2024, so last year, just about 5 months ago. And it's broken down pretty good. I'm not going to read the article to you, but I'll show you the main page here. You can feel free to go find it yourself. And the graphic that they have at the top, and I really want to kind of focus on that. So I'm going to bring that up on my screen, and we can talk through the reasons as to why this is potentially happening to not just the NHL, but the NBA as well. And I'll add some extra points that I have in here. So this is a really good breakdown. It's a really good graph. It all leads to the right, which is declining viewership in NBA and NHL. So off to the left, let's go left, right, or top, bottom, starting left, right. So streaming platforms, this is absolutely one of the biggest reasons. It's almost impossible to find a game that you're trying to watch in the NHL. This is the main reason that I don't watch hockey anymore, or at least don't watch very much hockey anymore, because I can't find my favorite team's games online. It doesn't matter how many platforms I have. If I don't have cable, and I'm not paying the ridiculous $300 to $400 fee for NHL Center Ice through Rogers or whatever it is, I'm Canadian, and I don't have that. So how am I supposed to watch any of the games if I don't have either of those two things? And you're like, well, Neil, I mean, don't be cheap. Just buy the Rogers NHL Center Ice package and just like fork out the money. What are you complaining about? There's an option there. Pay for it. That's great. I have in the past. But does that equal me being able to watch every single game in Canada? No, it doesn't, because of blackouts. I can't even watch my favorite team, the Montreal Canadiens, play every so often because blackouts. It's ridiculous. So why am I paying all this money to Rogers to half the time not be able to watch my team? So right now, sometimes, like right now, tonight, the Montreal Canadiens are playing the Chicago Blackhawks, and that game is on Prime, Amazon Prime. I'm going to be able to watch that because I have Amazon Prime. So I love the fact that that game is available to me. But 2 games ago, I think Montreal was playing Detroit. Maybe it was 3 games ago. It was last week. I went to go watch that game, not on any of the platforms that I subscribe to, and there's about 5 or 6 that I have, and it's not online anywhere that I can see it legally, so I guess I'm just not going to watch that game. And if I did have Rogers and Center Ice or whatever, maybe that game's blacked out. I don't know. I don't. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but there are games that are. And it's just this whole streaming platform and the NHL making it difficult to watch a game is incredibly frustrating, and probably the primary reason that most people aren't watching hockey, or I guess not most people, but let me reword that. It's the primary reason why NHL viewership is down. I can't speak for the NBA. I don't know, but I am going to bring up a Reddit comment here, which is kind of about that. I found it on just some random thread. It was from 2 months ago, and Big Time Meatball Boy, interesting name, they said, it feels like half of the games I try to watch are blacked out or on a different service that I don't own. At some point, you just stop trying. That is so accurate. Not many words in this comment, but incredibly accurate. This was me 2 years ago. I literally just gave up because I was tired of trying to fish just to catch a potential to watch a game on some streaming platform or whatever, or maybe trying to find it not blacked out. It's crazy. So the amount of streaming platforms, not necessarily the amount of streaming platforms, but the amount of streaming platforms that the games are on. You're playing like a game of pinata every single night when you want to watch a hockey game. You've got 7 pinatas in front of you. You've got a stick and you pick one and you smash it. Oh, no candy. Nope, guess I'm not watching hockey tonight because there's only one pinata of the 7 with candy, okay? And the candy is the NHL game. And the NHL is making it that difficult that you can't watch the game and get candy, and you're hitting duds more than you're getting candy, equals less viewership. So a lot of streaming platforms, but it's more so the broadness of where those games are being played is the problem. Audience migration is the next one. So audience migration would be like, I guess, losing the audience to either other platforms, other genres of entertainment, whether it's a movie, whether it's TV, other devices. There's just a lot. There's a lot of other options out there for entertainment. So audiences are migrating away from hockey because other stuff is more accessible and maybe interesting. Fragmented viewing experience. This is kind of the same thing a way, I guess. You have something that I guess was more like, it's hard to describe, more traditional back in the day. The game came on the TV, you sat down with some food or some snacks or something like that. You watched the first period, in between the periods, maybe you got another snack, you did your things, you came back, you watched the game, blah, blah, blah. Now there's so many different ads and breaks in the game to sponsor this and sponsor that. Then you got your phone in your hand and maybe you get distracted by something else. You got your laptop up, the game's on the TV, but you got your laptop up with Netflix on, watching something, maybe the game's in the background. So the viewer experience is more fragmented now. There's more distractions, there's more everything, everywhere. Competing events. This is a really important one because this just isn't event related, but it's also sports related. There are some new sports getting viewership out there. Like disc golf has existed for a very long time, but has gotten really popular in the last 5 years. Pickleball, darts viewership is up, pool viewership is up, golf is up. Now, none of those are new sports, but like viewership is up in all of these, and wrestling viewership is up. So the NHL is just losing viewership to these other interesting aspects or these interesting events and interesting sports. The next one, pop culture influence. So think of like Taylor Swift in the NFL and all that nonsense. There's not really any pop culture reference to hockey right now that makes it more interesting to watch or makes it relevant or gets the new person interested really at all. There's almost zero pop culture influence right now in the NHL or for hockey. NFL dominance, 100%. Like the NFL is so popular for so many different reasons. It just it completely dominates the viewership. And it's funny because it's a league or it's a sport that if you look at the whole season, there's a ridiculous amount of baseball games. There's 82 hockey games, and there's only like 16 or whatever NFL games in a season. It's wild, but they get so much viewership. So that leads to it. I mean, especially when the NFL and the NHL are happening at the same time. A lot of people choose to watch the NFL football over hockey. And speaking of football, there's another sport which has grown incredibly large in North America. And I'm talking about European football. We call it soccer. Anyways, that has been, that's really exploded. That adds to it as well. Game format and excitement. This is a really, really important one because this talks about things that the NHL are doing that make the game actively worse. This could be from an individual rule, maybe like the instigator rule, maybe like the refs trying to stop 2 goalies from fighting. It could be standings positioning in terms of like back in the day, 1 played 8, 2 played 7, 3 played 6. Now we get this wild card system. There's pros and cons to both, but that generally, after so long of the wild card system, it's exciting up until the playoffs start. And because there's more of a race at the end to get into the playoffs right now. Like right now, it's really exciting, both in the East and the West. But once the playoffs start, you get the same teams playing this. How many times has Florida played Tampa in the last 3 years? How many times has Toronto played Tampa or Florida in the last couple of years? Like you get these teams just play each other over and over again. You get that because of the wild card system. You wouldn't get that as much with 1 versus 8 or 2 versus 7, whatever. So there's a lot of game format that's causing the excitement to lessen with the NHL. It's causing viewership to go down. And there's some things that the NHL could do now, and there's definitely a lot of things the NHL could have done 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. So they need to address some of that stuff. I would love to see the playoff format switched. And this even includes like shootouts and 3-point games and all that stuff. Predictable game formats. This is probably, I think, maybe less important than a lot of the others on this list. There are definitely predictable game formats and outcomes. It's like I just said, teams playing each other and position 2 and 3 in the division. It has generally been the same in almost every division for the past couple of years. There's just a big spread in hockey, and that does create rivalries, kind of, but not like it was back in the day. So these formats or these arrangements, we'll use the standings as an example. They are predictable. It's not very exciting for me to know that Toronto is either going to play Tampa Bay, Boston, maybe not this year, but historically in the past 10 years, or Florida in the first round. Like, very, very predictable. So yeah, I'd say like it's important on this list, but maybe less important than all the other stuff. It kind of goes into the one above it, the game format. Lack of rivalries. There are new rivalries in the NHL that are pretty great to watch. There's I think the Dallas-Colorado rivalry never existed before a couple of years ago, and now I think it's a pretty good rivalry. It's not like the random fan isn't going to tune into that one just because it's Dallas-Colorado, but it's a good rivalry. But I think back in the day when you've got St. Louis and Detroit, Detroit and Chicago, Boston, Montreal, Boston, Toronto, some of those still exist. I think Toronto and Montreal and Montreal and Boston will always be a rivalry, same as Boston and Toronto. But they're just not as good. Now, I use Detroit as an example for some of those, and some of that has to do with Detroit leaving the Western Conference and going to the Eastern Conference. But still, there's just not as much rivalry in the NHL these days. And one of the reasons rivalries were so prominent back in the day and so exciting was the physicality, the fighting, the grit, the hatred between the two teams. You'd see goalie fights like year after year. Patrick Waugh fought, I think it was Mike Vernon one year, and then someone else in the 90s and early 2000s. And that's what you would come to expect. Like, those are iconic series in the NHL, dating back 20 plus years. That's what builds rivalries, is hatred. You see that in other sports. You don't see that as much in sports now because players are less likely to fight because of the rules. They're less likely to do something a little bit risky because of the rules. So this stranglehold that the NHL has on players with the rules has led to less rivalries, less entertainment. I mean, it is what it is. Short attention spans, this is 100% relevant. Like, even me, I'm being completely honest, I have noticed that my attention span has dramatically decreased in the last 10 years when it comes to entertainment. I could sit down and watch a movie, go get a drink, come back and watch another movie, and just sit there and watch it. Now I can barely make it 20, 25 minutes through a show or a movie without doing this. Where's my phone? Like, I lose it a little bit. It's difficult to hold my attention. It's because of apps like Instagram or TikTok or whatever. The reels and stuff, the videos. People just get distracted, and I am guilty of that. My attention span is shorter. And I'm almost 40, okay? I'm very close. I'm not young, but the younger generation, which is a segue to the next one, Gen Z preferences. Here's an example of someone that's older than me, maybe someone around 60, watching a hockey game. Here's an example of someone my age watching a hockey game. Here's an example of Gen Z, or someone much younger than me, watching a hockey game. They're not watching. It might be on the TV, but they're not watching. They're on their phone 100% of the time. So they just not only are not super interested in terms of attention span, but they're just not like they're more interested in other things. They prefer other things. They want to watch the game on a social media platform, or they're watching highlights only. They're not going to sit there and watch an entire game. It's a different culture for them. It's not. They just have different preferences. They have different ways of viewing entertainment. And the last one, audience engagement. So this is, I don't know if I necessarily agree with this one. It's a little bit tricky because I view audience engagement as two things. Digital engagement, which is like going to Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, Discord, whatever, and interacting or commenting on something to do with a game, a sport, whatever. Something happens, a goalie fight doesn't happen in the NHL in a game that you're watching, and you jump online, you go to Reddit, you leave a comment, you reply to a different comment, whatever. That's like digital involved engagement. But audience engagement can also be related to like attention span. Like, how engaged am I in this game? How engaged am I in this sport in general? Which is a segue back to a couple of the other things, and like competing events. Like there's other stuff going on. Like, I'm a little bit engaged in this, and I'm also a little bit engaged in hockey. Whereas 10 years ago, I'm 99% engaged in hockey, and my 1% is waiting for my nuggets in the stove to be done so I can get them. Okay? Or there's something else going on. All right? But I'm heavily involved in hockey, and not much. I don't care about much else. It's not like that anymore. The engagement has lessened from kind of like a viewership standpoint. So I see engagement as kind of maybe two things. So that's a lot to discuss. And I just looked at their chart. I have other things to bring up. I know this is a long video. I apologize, but I'm passionate about hockey and I want to talk about it. Here are things that I think have contributed to less viewership. Some of these are really insignificant. Starting right away with jersey ads, I think the overwhelming majority of people do not like jersey ads. But I think, and I strongly believe, that the amount of people who stopped watching hockey or have not watched as much hockey because of jersey ads is pretty insignificantly low. As a jersey collector, I wear a different team every single video because I talk about all the teams. That is not a reason that I would stop watching hockey. I don't like it. I don't support it at all. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's super ugly. But I'm not going to stop watching hockey because of an ad on a jersey. I mean, that's just, I'm brutally honest. Some people will not like that opinion, but it is what it is. The next is helmet ads. Same thing. Like, I'm not going to stop watching hockey because of helmet ads. I don't like them. Wish they were gone. But it is what it is. I'm not going to stop watching hockey. Here's a big one for me. Digital ad boards I put down. Or digital board ads, whatever. This drives me nuts. Like, the technology has gotten better, but I still think it's ridiculous. Like, we're so just slapped in the face with so many ads of everything. What you really want to sell digital ad space on boards when there's already ads on the ice? It's like, how just the quest for as much money as you can possibly make is just, it's ridiculous, and we suffer from it as consumers. The next one, constant in-game related ads. What I mean by this is, it's the Ford Final Five. It's the last 5 minutes in the period. So they sell that little ad space, that name of the Final Five, to a company like Ford. Ford pays $250,000 for a month of that ad space or that name, and like Prince Edward Island is the official tourist destination of the NHL. I love PEI. I lived there for almost 10 years. My parents lived there. I don't care what the NHL's official tourist destination is like that. I don't care about that ad. I don't care about 98% of the ads that are on the NHL. Like, stop the Ford Final Five. Stop the nonsense, okay? Stop that nonsense. But here's what really bothers me about ads. It's all the sports betting ads. They drive me nuts. This is one of the significant reasons that I have stopped watching as much hockey as I used to. I went from watching at least one game a night. At least. Sometimes 3, sometimes 4, depending on the day, if it's a weekend, weekday, whatever. And, I mean, as you guys know, if you're a longtime viewer of the channel, that the channel basically revolved around me talking about day-to-day hockey. And I watched a lot of hockey then. It was great. But my viewership has significantly dropped. I don't even talk about day-to-day NHL anymore because I don't watch enough to really have a strong opinion. But I'm passionate about hockey still, and I do watch the odd game that I definitely can if it's available. But one of the main reasons why I stopped was a couple of years ago. It just every 3 minutes there was a sports betting ad, whether it was a little ticker along the bottom of the screen, whether it was an adjacent little graphic next to the score clock above, whether it was an actual 30-second ad before, during, or in between periods of the game, whether it's on any platform that I'm on, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, whatever, the NHL app. I'm just like, oh, there's another betting ad. And I understand it from a business perspective. It's all about the money. However, as a consumer, I don't care. Give me the same amount of ads if you have to. Diversify. Okay? Get different ads. Try and sell me a couch. Get me some sunglasses. Make me buy your Ford, your Dodge Ram or whatever, okay? But I don't need to see the same ad for the same company 74 times in a 3-hour period. That's annoying. Super annoying. So the betting ads for me is a big no-no. So all of this to say, this big giant 30-minute conversation that we're having right now, all leads back to why viewership is down. For all of the reasons that I mentioned, all of those reasons might not apply to you. Maybe only one of the 15 or one of the 10, whatever, apply to you. Maybe 8 do. It doesn't matter how many apply to you. It doesn't matter if they all apply to you, because every single one of those has impacted someone that has decided to stop viewing hockey as much. And viewership has gone down from that individual person. Now look at all of those reasons and see how that impacts so many people and that collectively viewership drops and drops and drops and drops and drops. That's why it's tanked in the US since the beginning of this season. It is down in Canada as well, not as drastically, but viewership in the USA for I think the first couple of months from this season, it was down like 39% or something like that. Pretty crazy. So this is a conversation that I can't do anything about. I can't increase your viewership to the NHL. I can't increase the NHL's entertainment value or anything like that. I can't do anything about it, which is why I'm maybe appear a little bit frustrated in this conversation, in this video. But I still want to talk about it because, like I said, I'm a passionate hockey fan. I love hockey. I grew up playing hockey, watching hockey, involved in hockey. Up to this day, almost 40, I am maybe more passionate about hockey than anything else in my collective life. Sorry, I dropped something. So this is an important topic to me. I've read comments on Discord. I've had conversation with friends. I've seen the comments on Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Okay, I know that I'm not alone in some of these grievances and frustrations. I know that I'm also, there's other people on the other side of the coin where they have no issue with stuff going on. They love betting ads because they gamble all the time and they want to know what's going on. They want to know the odds and all this other stuff. Totally fine. Okay, totally fine. But what I ask for you is if you've made it this far in the video, that probably tells me that you're at least a little bit engaged in this conversation. Maybe you have an opinion either way. If you do have an opinion, I would love for you to take just a couple extra minutes and leave it down below in the comment section. Who do you cheer for? And do you watch less hockey or more hockey than you did in the past comparative couple of years? And if you do watch hockey and you have a favorite team, yes or no, is it a struggle to watch your favorite team, or is it pretty seamless? Like I don't know which teams have local, I think Colorado or Dallas or someone offers their games, all of their games on a specific streaming platform. I can't remember what it is, but like there's things that I don't know for specific teams. So let me know your favorite team if it's easy for you to watch the games, or if you're frustrated like me and it's really a challenge to try and watch your favorite team or any team. So anyways, let me know. If you got a couple of minutes, let me know down below in the comment section what do you think of this, and yeah, just very curious of that. And let me know what you think of the goalie fight. Like the title of the video is about the goalie fight. That's what really triggered this conversation, but it's a broader conversation than that, as we've discussed. But let me know what you think about the goalie fight as well. Like, did you want the refs? Do you think that was a good call for the refs to stop, or maybe the NHL to stop that goalie fight, or should they let them just go? Like, sometimes you need to sacrifice a little bit of PR for some good entertainment. So yeah, let me know what you think of the goalie fight as well. And yeah, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. If you want to hear more conversations like this and you're new, hit the subscribe button down below. We're pretty close to 50,000 subscribers, so we'd love to have you on board. And otherwise, hope you have a great night watching hockey. I am going to watch the game tonight. between Montreal and Chicago, and I'm pretty excited about it. The playoffs are coming up. There's a bit of a tight playoff race. So yeah, I'm going to watch it and gonna have some fun. So thanks again for watching. Have a great night. We'll talk to you very soon. Adios.